one?
Yep. So the next news story is a big one. Star Wars is no longer exclusive to East.
Brad goes next.
Oh, sorry.
Jump in the gun.
Sorry, mate. Sorry.
He knew.
Jesus.
He knew there was a
Christ.
Destiny news story coming.
Take a seat, have a cup of tea. It's fine.
So, yeah, no problem. Yeah, a bit of Destiny news out this week. So that sparked a bit of controversy, a bit of a discussion point. So Bungie had a bit of a break from their weekly blog posts over Christmas and New Year. I think they've had about 3 weeks off, and they've come back with the TWAB this Friday, this week at Bungie. And they spoke about reissuing some gear. So the game is at a bit of a lull at the moment. It's sort of plateaued out, and there's no new content for the moment. The big DLC hit in November, and it's been a couple of months now, so it's reaching a quiet time. And a big discussion point is what's known as sunsetting. So basically sunsetting in the game, because it's an ongoing sort of MMO RPG style game, and it's a looter as well. So every time they introduce new loot, it needs to be desirable, because you need to have the want to chase that new loot and equip that weapons and armor. But with that, on an ongoing game that's been out for 4 years now, comes power creep. So you can't keep on bringing out new weapons that are better than the previous, because then you become too overpowered and everything becomes very easy. And then developers have a big challenge in making challenging content that's still accessible to new players and old players. So there's a real dilemma with Destiny being an ongoing game. So what they've implemented is sunsetting, whereby basically any gear, any loot that you've acquired in the last 3 years is now rendered as useless. You can still use it, but it's got a power cap. So as your power, your level goes up and up and up, you can't bring that weapon with you anymore. It's sort of left behind in the old content. So it's a good solution to what is known as power creep. Sunsetting was announced last year that, look, we're going to start sunsetting weapons. And in fact, I've got a tweet from one of the Bungie developers, which was the stepping stone to really the prospects here. So how Recluse shits on everything in PvE. Recluse was a submachine gun that was just really overpowered. Weapon sunsetting means we can add more weapons like that and shit on everything. Just eventually we're going to fall behind in power. New weapons that shit on everything can be added without constant power creep. I'm very excited for it. So they've kind of said, yeah, look, we'll get rid of the old ones, but we'll bring out new ones, and it just makes the weapon pursuit a lot more exciting. But it's not what's happening. We've just had a TWAB announced, and they're reissuing old loot, so the loot that we've already acquired from destinations like the Dreaming City and the Moon, and they're reintroducing the old weapons, but they're just putting a couple new perks on it, and we have to go through the whole process of grinding to achieve them again, and they've got a new power cap on them. So yeah, people are pissed. It's like, well, hang on a minute, we've already earned all those weapons for the last 3 years, and you're sticking them back in the loot pool with a new power sticker on them. That's not an attractive loot pursuit, which is a bit of a problem. So yeah, the community is kicking off, and there's a bit of an uproar on Twitter, and it's all got trending again. So yeah, Reece, you've seen the tweets, you've seen you're involved, you've seen the TWAB. You weren't too upset with the news. So what are your thoughts? And I'll tell you why you're wrong afterwards.
Go straight there. No, my perspective was that one of the issues with the game is that there's when they took out a lot of the planets, the reason being was that they weren't doing anything with them. And then we've still got the Dreaming City, and we've still got the Moon, which are like from previous expansions. And then repurposing the gear, although it's the same gear and everybody's upset that you've got to regrind from it, have made those activities on those planets and the dungeons, which I really like, with a purpose. Like, you can do them again, and there's a reason to do them, which is not the main thing for next season. It's just in addition to next season's content. If that was just the content, I would get why everybody's really upset. It's like, oh, we've got to regrind for this stuff we've already done. But it's just in addition to next season's stuff, and it's giving you a purpose to do those activities. So I'm seeing it more from the activities and be able to do things that are kind of pointless at this moment in time, rather than the issue with sunsetting, which I get the issue with, and people that have already got the god roll, whatever, and they don't really want to redo it again, or the armor. I get the pain with that. So
yeah, I guess it's a tricky one. I feel like it's putting a plaster over a bullet wound, because you're right, it does give you a purpose to go back into there, but I just wish there was the development power to just put new loot back in, and have a new loot pool. It just seems really, it's just there's no desire when you've got a weapon that you've grinded for so many times, and that it's got that expiry date on it. And also when this loot comes back out as well, like the way they've introduced sunsetting in Destiny, every single weapon you get now has a predetermined expiry date on it. It says you can infuse this up until this point, which is like next year's expansion. And that, I don't know, like for you chaps, Brad and Ash, I don't know how you'd feel about that. I know you don't really play too many looters, but you've dabbled. Would that affect your desire to pursue something that is gonna be rendered useless in a set amount of time, or would it not bother you? Do you think, oh, okay, fine, by that point there'll be more loot to get? Would it affect you?
No, it would put me off a bit, to be fair.
Going like if say I started today and was going after a certain thing, got it, and then like you say, a couple of weeks later, like guess what, it's gone, and then you're like,
couple of weeks, I get your point, but we're talking years. Like this is a different.
Yeah.
No, weeks and years are the same to me, I'm afraid.
I would be upset if they took my gun away after a week. Like that would be upsetting. We're talking like a years here. And I think it's the point of the game, isn't it? Like you want to recycle things in and out. Like if they took it all the way and then they give you more reason to play the game, when you've got everything, like this is the issue we've got now. We've overplayed the game. Essentially, we've got everything. We've pretty much got all the armor in the raid. We've got all the guns in the raid, except for the one exotic that we need. It's the only thing we need. There's nothing left to do because we've essentially got it all. Do you know what I mean? But if they took all that out and then gave us new stuff or repurposed a reason to do the same stuff again, it's why we love the game, is to do those activities. So,
I was really pro sunsetting. I was really pro sunsetting. I think something happened when they announced they weren't making a Destiny 3. It certainly, that I thought, okay, well, they have to do something about this bloated loot pool that is in the game. But I just think the way that sunsetting has been executed, I didn't think we'd literally have carbon copies of all the stuff that we've already earned. And I don't know, I don't feel like they're properly going about it the right way. But time will tell. Hopefully as time goes on and we get more updates, more expansions, we just end up getting more stuff overall. So time, and the whole armor thing as well, I just don't get sunsetting armor. Weapons I get, but armor, they're just stats. Like it's literally, okay, you now have to regrind for the exact same.
Yeah, I get the point, and I get why people would be upset with it. But cool, we could have we could do a whole episode talking about this. So we'll move on because we could be here for hours.
For sure.
Ash,